Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Takashi. I'm originally from Tokyo, and I am currently a managing director at Unipos Europe. Unipos is a Tokyo-based startup. We launched 22 months back. We are in the HR employee engagement sector, I would say, people, culture topics. And what we do is we provide companies with a real-time feedback and recognition tool that you can use inside the companies. Where's the thing? But yeah, before I go into talk about more about what we do and more about our product, I'd like to take you through like where we initially came from. So Unipos didn't exist 22 months back. Our initial backbone is ad tech business. We were handling, ads. We were creating a platform for advertisers, etc. And our company was growing extremely fast. It was going from 30, 40, 50 in just a couple of months. And the founder, the CEO of this company thought it was a little bit sad to lose this sense of talking to his employees. He was losing this personal touch. He was losing this personal conversations that he's always used to have. And he was very sad about it. And he was also facing this typical startup issue where you start to lose track of what's happening within your teams. By the time you get to 60, 70, 80, you actually don't know what people do day to day, right? He was actually feeling the same way. He was extremely sad. So one day he goes to the corner of the office, he finds this big box, right? Brings it over, puts it in the middle of the office, and starts writing, something like that. It's in Japanese, but it essentially says a Discovery Award, right, on the box. He just writes on it. And, he just basically screams to his employees saying, look, you know what? I want to learn more about you guys. I want to learn about the great things that are happening in this company. So once a month, can you write me a piece of note saying, something great about one of your colleagues, some great findings for that month. So he asked his employees to do that on a monthly basis. He would open it up at the end of the month in front of everybody, and he would start reading it, and they would vote for the best, let's say, the Discovery Award, and they would celebrate it inside the company as an internal event. It was a monthly event. And they kept on doing this. They kept on doing this for, 2 years, 3 years' time, when he realized and noticed that nobody was leaving his company anymore. So it took him another 3 years for the next engineer to leave his company, and he realized this has impact on employee engagement and employee retention. And then he asked, okay, can we digitalize this in any way so it's manageable, so it's so other companies can basically bring in what we do because it's working great for us. And that was basically where Unipos came from. It's an appreciation platform. You're able to acknowledge other people's work, powered by a peer bonus, which was a term invented by Google, where you're empowered to give somebody else, anybody in your company, a small amount of virtual credits that can turn into vouchers or, wellness, health benefits, perks, etc. So employees are empowered to send around, let's say, these virtual credits or points, along with an appreciation or a positive feedback to anybody in the company in a public timeline. So it's not anonymous. You're able to see what other people are doing, what other people are good at, any special features an engineer has launched, etc. You start to understand what other people do. And this is essentially what we do today. To be very honest, giving the power to your employees to send around, even if it's a little amount, it's a cup of coffee worth, but giving the power for your employees to send around bonuses, people thought we were insane in the beginning. Like, nobody understood that. Like, why do we have to do that, right? A lot of the companies in Japan especially thought it was actually crazy, especially coming from a very hierarchical organizational culture. Japan is very hierarchical, so. But it worked. But it really worked. We saw that a lot of people were engaged with the platform. A lot of employees were happy that their work had been acknowledged inside the companies. And it really, really worked. Another thing that we also provide for the companies is this. It's an interesting data which is collected over the period of the time. So this graph basically shows every employee within your company sending around appreciations and positive feedback. And no other companies have been able to collect such data. You do your monthly or quarterly reviews, but you don't do like regular, let's say, feedbacks. And we start to understand incredible insights and data from this set of, let's say, visualization. For example, some of the things we can analyze these two different departments and look at their collaboration levels. We were also able to find the secret influencers and connectors that were, let's say, connecting the 2 or 3 teams together. And these people are sometimes not that apparent. They can be your, let's say, server-side engineer. They can be your office management person. You know, these people are not basically in the front line, but important people that are really holding your organizations together. And we were able to, let's say, provide this insightful information to the leadership team or the HR managers. And so far, all the engagement scores went up in, let's say, 99% of the clients we have until today. After using Unipos, more employees tend to collaborate cross-functionally. More employees feel recognized for the work they do, and more employees feel engaged with their company because now they feel like the company now values their employees, the work they do on a day-to-day, and also get some, let's say, acknowledgement and recognition. Here's where we are today. We launched in June 2017 in Tokyo, mainly in Japan. We have a little bit over 240 customers up until today. And we just opened up our office in Berlin in February this year because we believe that employee engagement, employee retention is a global thing. Not just Japan, not just anywhere else, but I've been living in Germany for 8 years now. And it's an ongoing topic that a lot of the companies are still trying to find, let's say, different ways to tackle this issue. So why does this work, right? Why does it work for many of the companies? First, it puts light on these people. First, this one's obvious, right? I stayed up until 4 a.m. looking after the servers, but no one really knows about it. You use Unipos, somebody recognizes your work. Hey, thanks for staying up until 4 a.m. looking after the servers. Great job, And then if you see that post, you will probably guess why that person is late to work today, right? And you won't be hostile against that person because you already know the context. So it brings people together. But, we looked deeper. We were like, okay, there's got to be something deeper into this. And there's a famous study done by Daniel Pink, who's a best-selling author on New York Times, who's also a organization expert, knows a lot of things about it. But there's 4 things that really engages, key factors that engages the employees at work. It's not money, it's not promotion, it's mastery, it's autonomy, inclusion, and purpose. And we found out through our software, we tackle these 2 very important things that the companies are trying to, let's say, find as a solution to keep their employees engaged. Important question is that, why do we all go to work, right? I'm sure a lot of the people here are, let's say, founders or somebody in the leadership team or, but I think that 99% of the people out there are employed. They are employees. I know this from my experience too, but I think ultimately people go to work because they want to be useful to something or someone they care about. Right? Because that's when they feel alive. When they feel useful to something or someone, they feel alive, right? So we believe that by, let's say, adding a little bit more meaning for people's day-to-day, we believe that we can empower these employees. And by empowering these employees, we can empower a lot of the businesses out there today. And we believe we could also do this here in the European market as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Takashi. Is there anyone who has one question for Takashi?
Hi. I've seen a few companies implement like 360-degree feedback and similar things, and what happens a lot is that you have fear in the beginning. Like transparency creates fear. Is there is there a difference in that between Japan and Germany? Did you notice any difference in that kind of immediate maybe pushback or fear? I would be interested in the cultural differences.
So yeah, I mean, as Makoto introduced, I've been working in German companies for over 7, 8 years now. I worked at Adidas in the headquarters in Herzogenaurach, south of Germany, and also at HelloFresh, which was the fastest growing startup in Berlin. And I've done 360 feedbacks. I've done all kinds of feedback. First and foremost, we need to treat, let's say, performance evaluation and culture separately. That's the bottom line. We need to treat those as different things. And I think for performance evaluation, 360 feedback is something we could still use to, let's say, evaluate the goods and, let's say, the weaknesses or the improvement points when it comes to you as a professional person. But when it comes to, let's say, culture development and employee engagement, we need to look at, let's say, the more bright sides of things. And we need to do that as frequent and as often as possible. So one of the things let's say, lacked, and my colleagues lacked at HelloFresh, that was my last employer, was that business just kept on moving so fast. And it was not, let's say, reviewed in any way or acknowledged in any way because it was just a crazy startup environment that just went so fast. So we're always looking for, let's say, outlets where we can acknowledge people's work more day to day as opposed to monthly or quarterly feedback where you probably forgot most of the things that have happened in the last 2-3 months. So this is how I see or we see our product being very different from survey tools or performance evaluation tools, but more, let's say, we're on the culture development side. We're on the employee engagement side, which we believe is going to be let's say, the next big topic within the HR industry.